Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. And I gotta say, I had fun with this Raw tonight. The main event of SummerSlam already announced, and it got hyped up in a big way tonight. I think they really used the time wisely on this Raw to promote the main event. The Women's Revolution continues in full swing on Monday Night Raw as we got two pretty solid women's matches tonight. And just some fun segments all around. But SummerSlam has a long way to go. But the main event, again, has been made clear. I'm pretty hyped for it. Ashton, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, this was a really kind of an up and down show. This was the first show in a while that I've had at least one big problem with, but there were also some really, really amazing high moments as well, where we're just super hype and amazing. So I think that if nothing else, this show did an amazing job of hyping up SummerSlam. So there you go.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Nothing really more to say than that, so I guess let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. I can't really think of any heats of the night that I would have with this show. Nothing really annoyed me or really perturbed me to the point that I feel the need to come up here and address it. So, Ashton, what about you?
Well, I'm actually kind of surprised that you don't have any problems with the show, because I feel like there was one glaring problem that I feel like it's actually kind of a recurring theme and something that we talk about every couple months.
Okay, and that is?
John Cena just flat out burying Seth Rollins in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just happens so much now that I just find it to be comical.
Here's my thing. If they end up having a match, if Seth Rollins wins, John Cena just buried himself because he just did everything in his power to make Seth Rollins look like a baby back bitch, right?
Right.
If John Cena wins, now he holds the less prestigious title, and who did he beat?
Right. Yeah.
So the only way for the WWE to get out of this is for them to not do what I think they're going to do and have Rollins versus Cena in a championship versus championship match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's really surprising. I mean, we were discussing potential main events for Seth Rollins, and John Cena didn't even cross my mind. I think that's how used to I have gotten just him interacting in that upper mid-card tier, being the United States champion and going on this run. Am I opposed to the matchup? Not necessarily. But I do think if they were going to do it, it is a rough start. I mean, I've talked about it before on past TwitWows. The best advice I ever heard, the best philosophy I've ever heard in regards to promos came from Jericho's first book. It's one thing to kind of denigrate your opposition, but don't do it to the point where they lose credibility. John Cena could have said, Seth, you have been a long-standing champion. I think you've carried that belt for longer than people would have given you credit for, but that doesn't change the fact that you are still a coward. I think that would have been more acceptable than just really riding him into the ground verbally. Now, I believe Seth, just kind of swiped it off his shoulder. He cackled it off and just walked away with, the pride he believes himself to have being the world champion. But it doesn't change the fact that this has been a consistent problem with John Cena. A guy that could really use some credibility and be recognized as a threat is instead, in his eyes, just belittled and ultimately looked at as nothing but a paper tiger in the midst of John Cena's storm.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. And normally when Cena kind of cuts one of his cringeworthy promos, I don't have a problem with it, but I feel like every time he just flat out buries somebody on the mic, and he's done it with Rollins, he's done it with Orton. I'm sure there are other examples that I just can't think of. I'm pretty sure he did it with Rusev too, and we had to point it out then. I just feel like even though it happens so often that you might have gotten used to it, I don't think that there's any sense in something happening so often that's bad and just starting to ignore it because it's not going to go away. I think we need to keep pointing it out.
Absolutely. No disagreements here. I think the thing that kind of irks me too, now that we're having this discussion out in the open, is I feel like people really were starting to come around to the U.S. Championship being the more prestigious title, and that's fine. I think that's great, actually.
Yeah, and the best way to ruin a good thing in WWE is for the meta to embrace it.
Exactly, like to explicitly come out and say, I'm the better champion than you are,
Yeah.
because you were already winning people over with your deeds. Your
Yep.
words are unnecessary.
Yep.
And yeah, I feel like they kind of sully a good thing. So just my 2 cents on the matter.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, that's really my only gripe of the night. There were a few other things that just kind of like little tiny that got on my nerves a little bit. You know what? No, I do have one other thing now that I think about it that really, really, and it's, you know what? Now I'm thinking of more stuff. Okay, my next heat of the night, because I don't know if I have 2 or 3 tonight. My next heat of the night is Divas on commentary.
Okay.
I love that they are giving Divas a chance as far as giving them multiple matches on a Raw and both matches having a decent amount of time. But oh my God, Nikki Bella and Brie Bella should never have a microphone in front of their faces ever.
I think what annoyed me about that was they were kind of playing the baby faces again.
And yeah, and that's exactly what one of the problems was. They constantly do that. It's like somebody needs to get in their ear and be like, girls, we know that you like your merch sales, but you're not supposed to be trying to make fans right now. You're supposed to be trying to get people to hate you.
Right. And it's funny because they have all the traits that you would think that would make them, unlikable, because Nikki's had like a vice grip on this championship. They've been known to be bullies in the past. I mean, hell, their look and how they carry themselves would say, yeah, we're kind of those narcissistic female heels. And yet when commentary straight up asks them, well, what do you think of the Revolution? Oh, we love it. Really? Because all 3 of you were put in submission holds to begin that revolution, and you're going to tell me that you love it and you embrace it? Are you kidding me? Just complete disconnect between me and the Bella sentiments on this thing.
Yep, exactly. So that's a huge problem to me. And then, but I guess, I don't know if you want to include this as a third heat of the night or just kind of stack it all together in the way WWE is still treating their women. But I find it incredibly ironic that you're giving these women an amazing opportunity to show what they can do in the ring, despite some of the cringeworthy commentary that we might have had. And then you go from that immediately to 2 skinny blondes fighting over a man.
Dude, I understand where you're coming from, but I think with WWE, baby steps. I mean, for me, I'd love them to be like Lucha Underground and how they present their women, but the fact that we're even getting this progress, I'm thinking hopefully it builds on itself. I think you're always going to have the more regressive aspects of WWE, and certainly, again, like we said with Cena earlier, should be called out and addressed. But I'm just really relishing the victories that we've attained recently still. But yeah, it is a problem, and hopefully it's one that's overcome, hopefully by Lana being competent in the ring when she finally gets in there, because I'm not feeling too good about it.
Yeah, it's definitely cause for concern, but yeah, I guess we can call that 3 heats of the night for me. So I definitely had some pent up frustration with this show, but again, I do want to emphasize that I did think that overall it was a solid show. I enjoyed it for the most part.
Absolutely, and you know what TWitWoW is about? I mean, this segment is dedicated to getting all the bad out early, and I'm just glad you vented your frustrations and we had it out. So with that said, is there anything else you want to address?
Absolutely not.
All right then, guys, then with that, let us roll right on through to our Monday Night Raw review, and we open up with the dead man, The Undertaker. And he comes out, and he cuts a promo that I personally really enjoyed. I'll be curious what the overall opinion is tomorrow morning, but I really thoroughly enjoyed this. He said, I stand here as a cold, remorseless, vengeful, grim reaper. And I really love his diction and his delivery. Crowd popped for it. I think they were in the palm of Undertaker's hands. I don't really think I heard any what chants, which was really nice. And then Undertaker goes on to explain, he acknowledges streaks were made to be broken. That does get a boo because people are still, after all this time, salty about the Undertaker streak, being defeated, being conquered, if you will. And Undertaker says that's just, the simple truth. But where his disdain comes in is that, Brock Lesnar and really, I associate Paul Heyman as the advocate, were bragging about it, week after week, month after month. And Undertaker said, last night at Battleground, that was his real resurrection. And he said, you know, I will prove, you know, I don't know if he name dropped SummerSlam, but he did say to Lesnar, you know, I will prove, man or beast, you know, I'm going to conquer what allegedly can't be conquered, and you will rest in peace. So
I
to
feel
me,
like that true resurrection line resulted in Bray Wyatt backstage crying in a corner.
yeah. But I gotta say, even though Undertaker doesn't give me the chills down my spine like he did when I was a kid, I mean, first of all, it's to be expected, you know, when you get older. But he still, man, I think has that quality where when he speaks, I listen. You know, he commands my attention. I, for one, was very big on this promo, and despite how old the Undertaker is, I think he's like 50 now, actually. You know, he looks to be in better shape than in years past, and he's still got it on the mic. So for right now, color me interested in this program with Lesnar.
Yeah, I mean, I kept notes tonight, and my this entire promo that Taker cut was just one line. It was just Taker opens Raw. He's mad that Lesnar keeps bringing the streak up. Lesnar will rest in peace. Okay then.
Quick question to you: how do you feel that he didn't even bring up Kane's like ankle being destroyed and the whole, you know, mentions of the family for the past, you know, little bit? Or do you like that?
I like that they're not even trying to acknowledge that.
Yeah, you know what? I have to agree with you because the more I thought about it, it's best to do programs like these with like one singular avenue in mind. And I feel like the streak is the most straightforward avenue to take.
Yeah.
So I think I appreciated the simplicity of it all as well.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yep.
nicely done.
All right. Up next, though, we see that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in their office were actually watching the Undertaker promo, and Triple H starts talking about how, oh man, SummerSlam is going to be so epic. We already got the main event set and everything. This is going to be great. And then Steph's just like, I'm going to go call marketing. And then Triple H is just like, yeah, sure, I'm going to call Heyman to make sure that he and Brock don't show up tonight.
Yeah, they want to make sure that a fight does not break out, that the arena isn't thrown in disarray.
Actually, dude, I feel like I kind of get the feeling that the reason they didn't want him showing up is just because they didn't want him and Taker to injure each other and ensure that they could still have this match.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, profit before people here. They see the dollar signs of this main event and they want to protect it at all costs. So they both go and do their respective jobs. Again, a nice segment that really kind of furthers the fact that, yeah, this is the main event and they're just promoting it right away. I love it.
Yeah.